Gresham's law is something that we need to think about, keep in our minds when we're talking about this bad arguments, bad ideology, bad focus, chasing out the good focus, the one that what makes it valuable, creates a people out of our deracinated race. Why is it more challenging? Because it takes a little bit more intelligence to understand. It also takes personal responsibility, which unfortunately these days so few white people have. They'd rather just blame somebody else or speak in abstractions, which I think is just as despicable. Speak in abstractions and hope you'll protect your white children that way. Here you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Let me put it up on the screen another way so that I can join you on the screen, but we can get started. This is a graphic created by First Last, and I don't know if he's here or not, but please do, when it comes to his Bigots Brew graph and this Septatard, ask him to help explain. You can get a screenshot of it, but these are the different points that he has found why anti-Jew spurging is wrong. He starts off with that it's a net too large. You are throwing a net out and capturing, and you could talk about each of these points at a greater length than we have here today. But in a nutshell, the net's too large. You are blaming people, Jewish people, who are not anti-white. You are not going to get white people to want to victimize people who are not harming us, people who are born a certain way, an immutable characteristic. Normal white people will not join you. And the evidence of that is generations of people acting as Jew spurgs. The net is too small. It doesn't capture all the anti-whites. It only captures the Jewish anti-whites. And this is built on an erroneous assumption of reality that if you get rid of Jews, then somehow all the anti-whiteism disappears. Preposterous. The cause of anti-whiteism, the weakness for it, the reason why it's able to exist is in us. 3, it puts the entire race on mortal defense. So you take Jews who are not necessarily anti-white at all, and you motivate all of them to fight against us with all of their ingenuity, their money, etc. Could have worked. Those actions, of course, are the lexical dialectical power of the go-free dialogic. It prevents those actions. So Gresham's law chases those out of the discourse. 5, it doesn't form a people. And we were mentioning that earlier. If there's anything you take away, it's number 5 is the most powerful, in my opinion, because you're changing the conversation. It's now a conversation about what forms a people out of the white race, not a conversation of are there anti-white Jews in the world? Because, of course, there are Jews who are anti-white and there are Jews who are not, just like there are white people who are anti-white and white people who are not. Number 6, it hasn't worked for over 100 years. That should be like pretty shutting down their argument. When something fails this long, you really got to be a dumb sumbitch to continue to implement it and to argue for it, and worse, to silence those with slander or just ignoring us who are having actual success in the lives of white people, not the abstraction of white people, which, by the way, anti-Jew and anti-black spurgs, they are abstractionizing when they talk about the white race. They're not talking about actually helping white people, because actual white people go to jail for involving themselves in these communities and these ideologies and promulgating these notions. They lose their families. They lose their wives. They lose their husbands. They lose their children. They incur endless problems in their lives as a consequence. So these anti-Jew-spergs, anti-black-spergs, anti-Arab-spergs, on and on. They are using an abstraction of the white race, demonstrating that, again, in that way, also, they are cowards. And 7, according to First Last, makes you the villain in the anti-white narrative. That's a huge one because you're not digging out of that. He says, ruins your own and your family's life if you're playing the villain. We were just talking about that. And confirms the anti-white narrative to the millions of our brothers and sisters, the Vagues out there, that we need to reach. So there's the Septatard, beautifully done. First Last been around for a good long time in the white sympathetic sphere, and he's had to deal with a lot of these people. He is an honorable man, as you know, very intelligent guy. So when he came across what was working, his goal was pure. It was pristine. It was the well-being of our brothers and sisters to end this victimization. So when he came to something that's working, he's like, let's do this. It works for me. It works for others. It's working all over the place. Then he went out to people, regrettably, some of whom, he thought were his friends in the white sympathetic sphere. And he said, look at this. You've got, this works. We got to do this. And so many of them turned him down. And as a consequence of those interactions, specifically when it comes to anti-Jew-sperging, he created the Septatard. And more broadly, when he was able to discern a real problem between those people and me personally, like they looked at me and they were motivated by jealousy not to involve themselves. They were motivated by having to grift guard where they're getting their income that they're living off of. They're motivated by the sunk cost fallacy. They've been doing it so long one way, and they feel like if they give that up, that somehow means that they've wasted all of those previous years. I think that the dumbest thing you can do is stick with something that doesn't work. And we here will always pivot and move throughout the changing landscapes around planet Earth to arrive at white well-being and arrest anti-whiteism.